Off the top of your head, in the comments, name 3 arcanes that completely revolutionized the way you play or played Warframe. You will see some people with similar or varied answers. That's because of a few very obvious reasons, depending on the time period they played, what frames or game modes they play, and etc. Arcanes are an essential part of any Warframe build. The concept of a Warframe build without arcanes is just weird. Or you're a new player. Or you're el brocosito. How's my German? I've been practicing recently. I bet you can tell. The reason I asked that question is because, for one, there are so many arcanes, but very few are used. And among those few, they're only ever used for specific things, or just slapped on for a generalized build. You need strength stacking? Slap on Molt Augmented. You need fire rate on secondaries? Slap on Arcane Velocity. You get the idea. However, there are a bunch of niche arcanes that just do a good job for enhancing a build potential. For example, Arcane Arachne. This gives you base damage on your guns for 30 seconds upon performing a wall latch. But why would you use this? Well, thanks to Warframe's potato coding, some abilities are coded as weapons, and most of these abilities have to do with how projectiles are coded in general. Arcane Arachne ends up buffing these abilities to have them deal more damage, as the bonus is multiplicative to strength modifiers on your build. This is why Javelin chucking Styanax or Neutron slinging Nova benefit greatly from this arcane. But let's be honest, a lot of people avoid this arcane because of the whole wall latching requirement, which is understandable. You technically just need your character's feet to touch the walls for a fraction of a second, but that's not the point. I get it, it's annoying. But when you have arcanes that are just borderline useless in all aspects of gameplay, you ask yourself, why do they even exist? The simple answer is, they're a product of their time. But damn, at least deprecate them or rework them in a way, right, DE? Right? No, they remain as bloat, and we just never talk about them. Until today! For example, the elemental status resist arcanes. Nowadays, looking at these arcanes, you think to yourself, why would you even use these? They're not even useful. At least maybe not Arcane Nullifier, because it has its use cases, like Profit Taker, or even dead content. I'm sorry, I meant Eidolon hunts. But let's be real. You won't take these out for any build, because we have so many frames nowadays that can status cleanse you, give you status immunity, mods like Rolling Guard, and even the Worm with the Augment Negate that cleanses a status effect. Oh yeah, I forgot. We have access to Overguard, which makes the game run on super easy mode. Not to mention, people still misunderstanding Arcane Resistance. Guys, Toxin status effect and Toxin damage are two different things. Toxin status effect is like getting tickled, and toxin damage is pretty much like getting...
It's called fisting.
As if that is not enough, he puts the hand deeper.
Those whose rectums have been ruptured.
Can we use more sober language? People are
those,
having breakfast
I'm
this
sorry,
morning.
those whose behinds has been ruptured.
As toxin damage will just outright ignore your shields and one-tap you. Literally the only thing left in the game that can actually one-shot you. Anyway, we can ignore these arcanes because they're bronze drops, aka common drops. I'm here to talk about pure travesty that are legendary drops arcanes, that are by far the two most useless arcanes. And if you buy these arcanes with platinum, you're literally scamming yourself. And when that happens...
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
So, the two arcanes in questions are Arcane Barrier and Arcane Grace. It even hurts saying it. Let's see what they do. First, let's start off with Arcane Barrier. Alright, I forgot I sold my barriers to some poor soul. I'm not sorry. What about Grace? I still have Grace because it's more useful than Barrier. Anyway, let's take a look at Barrier. 5% chance to instantly restore all shields on a 5-second cooldown. Now, let me explain why relying on this arcane is a death wish. Okay? Imagine you're walking through a dangerous riot where people are constantly throwing rocks at you. Now, in this scenario, your shields are a glass helmet that you're wearing. Don't ask why, just bear with me for a bit. Once the glass breaks, the next rock to hit your head will clock you out. Now, Arcane Barrier is an incompetent bodyguard you hired. Why? I don't know. And this bodyguard has the reaction time of a 90-year-old grandma using Internet Explorer. The 5% chance of him protecting you is where he's on the phone 95% of the time, yeah? And every time a rock hits your helmet, there's a 1 in 20 chance he looks up and instantly replaces your cracked helmet with a brand new one. Once he actually helps you and gives you a new helmet, he announces, "My job here is done," and goes on a mandatory 5-second coffee break. He will not help you again until that break is over. I know, weird analogy, but just, I hope you got the point. But yeah, my point is, relying on Arcane Barrier is like playing Russian roulette, where the gun has 19 bullets and 1 empty chamber. And even if you survive the trigger pull, you have to scramble while people shoot at you for 5 seconds afterwards. The survival probability is near 0. And yes, there's a lot of nuance to this, and of course, there's also shield gating, but there are a million times better options than Arcane Barrier. Like, can you believe this? Barrier is literally outclassed by a bronze mod you equip on any robotic companion, Guardian. This triggers instantly without a percentage or a drawback, and the cooldown is reduced thanks to Manifold Bond. Not only that, there's Arcane Aegis. Now let's have a look at this. It states, on taking shield damage, there's a 3% chance for plus 30% shield regeneration for 12 seconds. This shield regeneration cannot be interrupted till the 12 seconds are over. Not only that, the shield recharge rate can be boosted with shield recharge mods like Fast Deflection and Vigilante Vigor. To understand why Aegis, even with a measly 3% chance, is generally superior to Arcane Barrier, I'll use my previous glass helmet analogy, because it's weird and easier to visualize because of the established frame of reference. You get it? Frame? No. Same situation, riot, rocks at glass helmet. Now, instead of a useless bodyguard, you have a 5-star medic on your team, but only shows up 1 out of 33 times of the encounter. Her superpower is that she doesn't outright fix your helmet instantly. Instead, she stands next to you for the next 12 seconds and mends the helmet on your head continuously after every hit. And when you pair that up with shield gating your companion, it's an infinite loop. Because for 12 seconds, you become effectively immortal because you always have just enough shields to block the next shot. I mean, look at this. And for even more survivability, I can use Pillage, as that replenishes my shields and cleanses me of status effects. And using Worm, I have even more status cleansing. So the only time you're allowed to die as a Hildren player is if you get smacked with toxin damage when you don't have overshields. Now, the sad case of Arcane Grace, that kind of rhymed. This was a staple on Warframes like Nidus and Inaros because they were the only health frames at the time. And for those coming out saying, hey, what about Kullervo? Kullervo has Overguard. So he's up there on his throne looking down at these two peasants. Look at them. The reason being, this was good, especially on Inaros, because you could double stack the same arcane back in the days. Arcanes used to be rank 3 instead of 5, if you didn't know. This arcane essentially was Inaros' biggest coping mechanism, and is arguably his worst choice of arcane nowadays. TLDR, Arcane Grace is the Arcane Aegis, but for health. But Grace has so many limitations and less use cases. For better survivability on Inaros, you're better off using Arcane Garden, Arcane Guardian for the armor, and if you need healing, you can also just use Arcane Reaper. But if you're going with the blue Archon shards for armor, then Arcane Blessing and Arcane Guardian for tankiness are going to be your best choice. Armor is the best damage reduction source for health-based Warframes, and adaptation is multiplicative with armor. So that's pretty decent survivability. I mean, for early Steel Path. And another reason being is that you don't need healing arcanes on Inaros anymore, because he got reworked. His second ability heals himself, and it deals damage, so it's actually useful now. On top of that, his best focus school is Vazarin, which makes you invulnerable and heals you over time, making Arcane Grace obsolete in 99% of use cases. And if you like health tanking, for example using Chroma, armor bonuses like Guardian are still a better choice, and using his Fire Elemental Ward for bonus health. And on top of that, Chroma has shields, so not only can he health tank, but he has access to shield gating. And if you can use a secondary build, just equip Fortifier, and boom, now he has Overguard Gate, Shield Gate, and health tanking. Overall, these arcanes definitely need a friggin' update, because as a gamer and a human being, I like there to be options. It's not about, oh, you gotta be creative. Shut up. These arcanes are just really bad. And let's not start with melee arcanes, the whole melee influence debacle. That's a whole different topic, and I actually have a video about that. Because let's be honest, using the same thing over and over without any change gets really boring very fast. And I'm usually the crazy one asking for a change. And yeah, boys, hopefully this video shed some light on our arcane situation. But anyway, that has been it from me. I do have enjoyed and learned something from this video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content streams and so much more. Do it for the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, a peace. Bye-bye now. By the way, boys and gals, how do you like this camera angle? All right, Linux engine. Okay, I'll stop right there. Anyway, thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good one.